right. Today we are busting myths that could save you thousands. Who doesn't like to save money? I know I do. And I love to save my clients money. So we're going to talk about the top 5 myths in real estate that could save thousands. And I'm April Bryan. This is Michael Bryan. We are co-owners of Bryan Realty. And I would love to hear your top myth for real estate.
Oh, I think the biggest myth has always been, I have to save so much money to be able to buy a house. I need
That's a good one.
20 or 50% or whatever it is. Most people think it's 20% of the price of the home to be able to buy it. And it keeps a lot of people renting and afraid of the market and scared to buy a house when they could be investing and building wealth much sooner versus wasting money and throwing it out the window in an apartment every day.
Yeah, if you think, just think about, let's say a $400,000 house, and you have to save 20% of that before you can buy it. That's going to hold a lot of people back from buying a house. So if we have options, which we do, because of the partners that we work with, the lenders, the mortgage companies, the mortgage brokers, the different avenues that we know of in terms of loan types and companies, we can get you into a house cheaper than 20% down. Sometimes it's 0% down. There is down payment assistance. There are 3% loans, 3.5% loans. And when I say that, 3% of the purchase price is what you'd have to put down. But again, there are options with 0% down. So there are a lot of options out there.
It's very important to find a realtor that you trust to help guide you through the process and get you in touch with the right type of lender or options for lenders that can educate you and help you learn what you don't know. This is our job. A real estate agent's job is to understand all of this. It's not your job. Your job is to find someone that you trust and can rely on to help guide you through this process and help you learn what you don't know.
Right.
Nobody knows everything. If you've never done it before, you don't know. How are you supposed to know? It's not something the schools teach us.
And that's our expertise. We do it every day. How many homes do you buy, in your lifetime? And for people that have never bought, you haven't bought one, but we're doing it every day. So that expertise can help you open your eyes to things you've never thought of or experienced. And that's what we love doing every day. So I think that's a big myth to bust.
And at the end of the day, if you are in your own home and you are making that monthly payment, you are paying down your mortgage, which means you are building equity and wealth for you and your family. If you are in a rental house, if you are in an apartment, then all you are doing is building wealth for someone else.
Exactly. And why not build that nest egg for you and your family?
That's right.
So you do not need 20% down. That myth is busted.
That's correct. All right, so we busted myth number 1. What would you think myth number 2 would be?
Ooh, I like it when buyers always want to lowball. They think sellers have always priced their house too high, so I'm going to come in low to get a good deal.
We are definitely seeing that more right now in this market. Everybody knows that the real estate market has slowed over the last couple of years. It has not died. It has not crashed. This is not 2008 and 2009. I can promise you I was there. It's a much different market.
Yeah.
But to your point, people want to come in and see, well, how low can I go? And in my opinion, what we typically see is that not all, but most real estate agents that are working with sellers, they're educating their sellers on what market conditions are, and they're looking at comps. And comps, what are comps? Comps are comparable sales. They are looking in the neighborhood and surrounding areas to find out what other houses have sold for, and then comparing that house to the ones that sold. Size, bedrooms, bathrooms, does it have a pool, does it not have a pool, has it been updated, what condition things are in, how old is the roof, how old is the HVAC system, and then they look at all that data and they come back and they agree on what a sales price would be based off of what other houses have sold.
Mm-hmm.
And because the news makes everybody feel like the sky is falling, buyers right now, a lot of them that we're running into feel like they should pay less. They don't want to overpay for a house. They're scared to overpay. And I get that. Nobody wants to pay more than what they should.
And we don't want anybody to
No,
overpay.
absolutely not. This is an investment. This is a long-term investment. Our job is to protect your money and your investment.
That's right.
And protect you and your family. And we certainly are never going to recommend anybody overpay for a house. But at the end of the day, if you find a house that you really want and it meets your criteria, you need to find an agent that you trust to help you look at those comps on the other end from a buyer side. Your agent should be pulling comps for you as the buyer and digging into what are the differences, bedrooms, bathrooms, ages of systems,
Conditions.
quality, all of that stuff to help you come up with what you think the house is worth. And also, what do you want to do to the house? People may want to remodel. Well, does it make sense? You need to budget that in and see if it fits within the guidelines of what the house is priced at and what it'll sell for and what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But those are conversations you need to be able to have an open and honest dialogue with your agent to figure out what you should pay for the house. The last thing you want to do, and we've seen this, I've got a deal right now that I have a house that's listed and we had a very lowball offer. I mean, I'm talking on a $350,000 house, people came in almost $80,000 below list price.
Mm-hmm.
And they want a counteroffer. And they're upset because the sellers are not willing to, they've just rejected the offer. The seller said, we're too far apart. We're not playing that game. I don't want to waste our time. I don't want to waste their time. We're not going to counter. We're too far apart. I reject the offer.
Mm-hmm.
The other side, the other agent is frustrated and upset because we're not countering. Well, they came in so low. This buyer was wanting a deal, and now they have irritated the seller, and the seller feels they're not real. They're not being realistic, and so why am I going to spend time trying to negotiate? I'll wait for a more realistic buyer to come along. I don't necessarily agree with that, but it's my job to follow through with what our sellers want. I think we should always counter back until the deal just is not going to move forward. But at the end of the day, as agents, our job is to advise our clients and then move forward with what they want to do.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times people think all prices are X amount too high. And I've seen deals where we've gone in and I've recommended to my buyer, oh, this is priced too high. We need to come in lower. It's overpriced. But then I've also gone in and said, this is underpriced and I don't think it's priced correctly. So it really does depend on comps. It's not a one size fits all.
No, because to your point, we've seen sellers that say, hey, you know what? I'm going to price it a little on the low side because I want to make sure it sells quickly. And I think if I price it low, we're going to get multiple offers because people are going to realize that it's low. But we saw this in 2009 and 2010. We saw these bank foreclosures where houses were selling, they were worth $200,000 and the bank was selling it for $150,000, and people would still come in and offer them $75,000.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to make a deal. Everybody wants to lowball, and they wouldn't get it obviously. But if you find a house, in my humble opinion, if you find a house that you like, that is in good condition and meets your needs, then you need to look at comps, you need to discuss it with your agents, and you need to make a realistic offer based off of the market conditions. The market is always going to dictate what a house sells for.
Yeah.
In my opinion, a house is worth what one person is willing to sell it for and what another person is willing to buy it for. It doesn't matter. If you don't have those two things, the house is not worth anything.
Exactly.
You have to be able to find somebody willing to sell it at a certain price and somebody willing to buy it at a price. And that's what that house is worth.
Right. Well, and you can have two houses. One you could get at list price and one you could get at 20% off. And the one you get at list price might be a better deal than the one that you get 20% off.
That's right.
Because they could have been priced very differently to begin with. So there's so many variables and levers that go into real estate. Having an educated expert in your corner and somebody that gives you their thoughts and their expertise based on these different options, it's huge.
Agree. And to your point, you've got two houses on the same street. Well, are they the same size? Do they have the same number of bedrooms, bathrooms?
Same condition?
Does one have a new roof, new HVAC system? Has the kitchen been remodeled?
Yeah.
Have the bathrooms been updated?
Well maintained.
Does it have builder grade original carpet that's 25 years old, or has it been updated? Does it have nail down hardwood floors? Does it have vinyl plank? What are the differences between those houses that justify the difference in price? That's why you have to dig into each individual home to figure out what its condition is compared to the one you're looking at. Because you can have the same size house right next door to one another, but they could be priced 20 or 30% differently based off of condition alone.
Exactly.
And so you got to do your due diligence.
Yeah. So another myth busted.
There we go.
I love it. All right. We're going to go to the third myth. And I think this one's a good one too. And you mentioned Zillow. Zillow says my house is worth X, so that's the price we need to go with. Is that a myth?
Yes, it is probably the biggest myth, like the earth is flat kind of myth. Zillow is a great company. They've done a fantastic job. They've got a ton of market share. They get a ton of views on an hourly basis across this country, much less on a daily or monthly basis. But at the end of the day, Zillow is using a computer algorithm to do what we just talked about.
Right.
They are taking a house and they are drawing a circle around that house and they are looking at everything that is sold over a specific period of time, and then it's averages of averages of averages and coming back with what your house is worth.
Mm-hmm.
They never had anybody go into your home and see what your bathroom looks like, what your floors look like, what your walls look like, the age of your systems. They've never had an individual, a human being, go in and look at your home and then go compare it in detail to the houses that it's saying are comps.
And that's feet on the ground in those homes as well.
That is correct.
Not just in your home, but knowing the condition, knowing how well it's maintained, in addition to all the features, because those are the things that go into an accurate price.
That is absolutely correct. And sometimes you don't always get a chance to go look at the house that's sold that you want to use a comp. But guess what? A real estate agent should call the real estate agent who listed it or sold it to ask questions about that home to gather more information about it to see how well it compares to the one they're looking at right now.
Right.
Zillow's not doing that.
No.
So
Certainly.
again, Zillow, sometimes it's accurate, but 99% of the time, and don't sue me Zillow, most of the time, Zillow is not 100% correct.
Well, it can't be.
There's no way it can be. Again, they're doing averages of averages of averages. And it is a good placeholder. It is a good starting point. It is directionally accurate. So let's say it says your house is worth $250,000. Well, now the job is go look at the comps and see if you're plus or minus that 250 based off of what your house looks like and the condition it is compared to the ones that Zillow is comparing it to.
Right.
That's what a realtor is going to do for you.
Exactly. All right, so we just busted that myth as well. All right, moving on to the next one. I love this one too. This is a good one. The first offer is never the best offer. We've got to wait for that best offer. That is a good myth.
I
How
agree.
do you respond to that one?
Well, I just took the Zillow one, so tell me what you think first.
Oh, okay, sure. So, in my opinion, typically the biggest pool of buyers is when a house goes to market. Those are the buyers that have been looking at everything else that's on the market. Your house has just hit. They're gonna that big pool, it's like a funnel. That big end of the funnel, they're gonna wanna come and see your house. They know what's there. They are typically qualified and eager, and they maybe have lost other deals to multi-offers, or they haven't found the right place. They come into your house, they know pricing of everything else. They've been seeing the comps. They make an offer, typically, not always, but I would say 90% of the time, the first offer is the best offer. And I think a real estate agent can help the seller determine if it is or it isn't, and what they can do to guide them through it.
Once again, I agree completely. You can't wait. You need to work every offer that comes in as the only offer you may get. And that may
That's
not
right.
be the case, but you don't know. And I've seen so many sellers over the years that didn't work the first offer because they felt like, oh, it's not quite what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else comes along. And instead of working it to see if they can make it happen, they don't. It's so quick, it's so soon. Because again, to your point, there's so many active buyers right now looking for homes like yours compared to how many buyers that will be there in 2 weeks.
Entering new entrants to the
Because
market.
that's right. The new buyers entering the market are going to be much less than the big pool that's out there right now.
Yeah.
And so sellers, you just list their house, it's been on the market a weekend, the first day, less than a week, and they get an offer. Well, they're hot diggity dog. We've had all these showings. We've had an open house. It went great. We got an offer. Fantastic. It's not really what I want. I think we can get more. Let's hold out. So they don't work it. And because they're betting they're going to get something better.
And it's emotional.
It is emotional.
You know, they think that it should be bringing in more.
They do. And they're also excited about the activity that they've had. So they feel like
sure.
They've gone to the casino and they're going to split. They're going to double down.
It's a frenzy.
It is.
Usually multiple buyers have come in to see it.
That's right. And so they do make a mistake and they don't work that offer.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get a better offer later down the road. Absolutely, it happens. But if you don't work each one individually, what could potentially happen is you lose that first offer and then the house sits because now everybody has seen it that's out there looking, to your point, and you're only getting showings as those new buyers hit. And it could take several weeks, a few months to sell your house at that point. And if that happens, you're typically having to continue to pay a note. You could potentially lose the house that you wanted to buy.
That's right.
Because it was contingent upon you selling this house most of the time.
Yeah.
So you're losing, there's a cost there. Your sunk costs continue to go up. You're still paying to maintain the house. You're paying utilities. You're paying property taxes. You're paying insurance. Your note. You're doing all of that. So your sunk costs continue to increase. Your time increases, and it's a lost opportunity.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying take it. I am saying right now, do not just take the first offer. That's not what I'm saying.
Exactly.
What I am saying is work the first offer. Sometimes they just can't make it happen. You're too far apart. The terms are not what you want. So, one of the things that we're talking about, the best offer and the first offer, and it kind of brings up the next myth. So many sellers are like, the market's hot back when it was crazy. I don't need to prep my home. And people still feel like that a little bit. I don't need to do anything. I want to sell it as is. I want to sell it as is, market it as is. I'm not doing any repairs. I don't want to paint it. I don't want to do anything before I list it. Let's just put it on the market. And that segues back into our last myth because I feel like people want X amount of money for their home, but we're seeing them not want to do anything to prep it before we go to market. And then they're disappointed and frustrated that it's not selling.
Right.
They're not even getting that first offer, or they get an offer that is way below what they really want for the house. Do you think that's a myth in this market?
Yes, a big myth. I think when you say, most sellers, I want top dollar, but I'm going to sell as is. Well, those things don't usually go together. And so we work this day in and day out, and we know everything that's going on. I mean, this is something that we work on every day. So we know what buyers are looking for. We know that they're very particular right now, especially in a market where they feel interest rates are higher. They feel affordability for homes is really low. Prices are high. So in those circumstances, they want to make sure that they're going into a good home, a home that's been well maintained. There isn't rotten wood. There isn't peeling paint. They want to make sure the landscaping looks good and they don't have to come in and weed flower beds and create the flower beds and mulch and all those things. So when you can go in and really put the makeup on the house and kind of finish it off and polish it, that makes a huge difference in the eyes of a buyer. And that's when they come in with the best offer. When I see people in a house that they determine that the way they describe it is it needs a little bit of love. It seems tired. When a house feels that way to buyers, they are not going to pay what they would pay if there's just a little bit of finishing, polish, makeup on the house that will help the house sell. And so something that could cost a small amount of money can make a huge difference in terms of thousands of dollars in the price of a home.
Yeah, if you're thinking about selling your house and you want to do it as is, and people typically have sold and bought more cars than they have homes. Would you go trade in your car without cleaning it out and running it through the car wash?
Oh, that's a great analogy.
No, you would not, because that car guy or lady is going to look at your car and they're going to give you a lot less money for it because it's going to look like you haven't taken care of it. If your car is nasty inside, got McDonald's French fries in the floorboard and mud all over the wheel wells, and it hadn't been washed in 2 years, they're going to give you a whole lot less on your trade-in when you go buy a new car. It's the same thing with houses. People are spending a fortune. I don't care what price range it is. Everybody is spending a fortune to buy a home. For them, whether it's a $200,000 house or $1 million house, it's all relative. Somebody buying a $1 million house, that's a lot of money for them. Somebody buying a $200,000 house, that is a lot of money for them. That's a lot of money for anybody. They don't want to have to do anything. They certainly may have things they want to do to remodel it or fix it up over time.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people don't have, they're putting so much money and having to save every penny to get into the home now. Their interest rates are higher, their monthly costs are higher, not just for the house, but for a car, for the groceries. Everything costs money. Everything's more now. We all talk about it. Inflation has gone up. That doesn't mean, even though hasn't gone up a lot recently, things still cost a lot.
Yeah.
So their monthly expenses are still high. They don't have the money to buy a house and then do all this stuff to it. So they're looking for homes that have been well maintained.
Yeah.
That, they may remodel the kitchen in 5 years. They may remodel the bathroom. They may do X, Y, Z in a few years, but they don't want to have to put a new roof on it because the roof is leaking or it's missing half its shingles. They don't want to replace a water heater that's leaking and the pan is full. They don't want to walk up to a house and have to paint the entire exterior because there's rotten wood everywhere. They're not going to do that. They're not going to pay top dollar for a house and then have to do that work. Nobody's going to do that now.
Exactly.
They did a few years ago because you couldn't find a house without naming your firstborn child after the seller to get it. But that's not the market.
The market was different.
The market is different, and you have to adjust based off of that. So buyers are being pickier. They're allowed to be. They don't have to rush like they did during the COVID years. And they're expecting more out of their home because homes cost so much now. And they're wanting that house to be maintained.
Right. And I think it's a big deal for sellers to know from an expert's perspective what buyers are looking for and to listen to that and then address things accordingly with their house as they're looking to sell it. Just one quick question. I don't disagree with anything you just said. I guess that means I agree with everything you just said.
It's very rare.
It is. I should state that. What the heck is a wheel well?
If you go look up underneath your vehicle where the wheel is, that is the wheel well.
Oh, okay. I know the wheels.
It's right above it.
Okay, got it. I'm familiar with that then.
Okay. Well, I get, obviously you can tell I'm very passionate about what we do and how we take care of our clients and the industry overall. And this whole podcast thing is still somewhat new for us. And it's fun to talk about these myths and talk about different topics and have different vendors that we work with in here to help educate our clients on different aspects of home ownership. But one thing I would like to ask is that of all the people out there looking at this, if there are other myths that they've heard or there are other topics that they would like discussed and insight into, please send them our way. We would love, we're constantly talking about new topics and talking about different vendors that we work with and having them in and picking their brains and helping educate us as well as our clients.
Yeah.
Nobody knows anything. Oh, nobody knows anything. That would be me. Nobody knows everything. And we love to educate ourselves and educate
Definitely.
our clients as well. So with that said, if you think of something or would like something different or have a unique idea, please send it our way. We'd love to look at it and see if we can turn it into or integrate. Good golly. Integrate. We would love to add it to one of our podcasts.
There you go. Also, you don't know what you don't know is what I say all the time. However, we do know that we don't know everything. And so we love input from other people so we can take that into account and then share it back. And I really enjoyed this myth busting session, and I always learn from you, so I appreciate that.
I enjoyed it very much. It was a lot of fun. I love talking real estate and love learning more about it every day.
Ditto. So thank you for watching, and hopefully you found some myths that were busted, maybe some ideas or thoughts that you had, and maybe you feel a little differently about things now. And we would love for you to like, share, and comment. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.